My name's Karl. I'm from Central Minnesota, and I was adopted to Central Minnesota when I was a 5-month-old baby, and grew up there, and eventually moved to Korea, and now I'm a teacher. My family was extremely loving, and my mom actually, before she decided to adopt, she ran like a residency program for teen moms. Yeah, my mom worked really hard and was like pretty conscious of a lot of like potential issues that adoptees that I would face. It was very majority white. I think my school district at the time was like 97 or 98% white. Now it's like 95 or 94 or something like that. I don't think a lot of like Central Minnesotan people are like particularly disposed against Asian people. I think it's just like, you're Asian and it's different, so, you know, ching chong, like that kind of thing. In middle school, it just became like pretty malicious. And that's where it was like, I hate this. Like, I don't want to be me. Like, I don't want to have a different face. I don't want to have different skin. I didn't want to like burden my parents. I didn't want to like, and there were times where I told my mom, I remember in high school that I told her about stuff that happened when I was younger. She like apologized because she was like, I didn't know. I definitely remember a lot of times like I like wish I just like fit in, or like I wish I wasn't Korean or something like that. And like I definitely developed like some self-hate issues. Now like wouldn't I wouldn't change anything for the world. Then in college I went to a pretty liberal state school, and I minored in like anti-oppression social justice work, and then majored in social work. And so like that seriously was like huge for me, because I as like a pretty emotional person, like I felt a lot of things and I just like didn't know how to talk about it, or I didn't know who to talk to about it. Yeah, I had a couple professors that helped me like articulate and understand some things. Like when things happen, it's not like some insulated incident, like something created some kind of dysfunction, and then as a result this happened for this reason. You know, these people and these families that go to the school, like they think that because, you know, they're like individually they have these prejudices, but also like it's not just like a random person being mean and you're the only Asian kid at school and that's just why. Like people are mean, like that's why. Like I don't, it gave me a lot of different like language and different ways to like think about and articulate like why I felt certain ways. And I just like internally always held that like I wasn't good enough. But understanding things like, you know, this is a shame-based culture, and in Korea, like when women have babies out of wedlock and when kids are like illegitimate, and this is like an honor-based, and if you don't carry the name and the blood, then like it's like seen as less valuable, or, you know, all of that stuff. Like talking about that like changes my perspective of like my adoption is not solely just because like my birth mother didn't want me. After college is when I really started like taking my mental health seriously. I had a couple like pretty bad like anxiety episodes, and I started going to talk therapy. It definitely had me confront like abandonment issues and attachment issues, and so then getting back to like my relationship with my biological parents, like I didn't have any information on my biological family, and so like a lot of people, like I was dying for like anything, like tell me like what you look like I really like this, did like my mom really like this, did my dad really like this. I remember as like a elementary aged kid, I wanted to be a cartoonist because like I was creative, and my dad had like just shown me some like doodles of like oil pastels. So my dad was also creative, and so I was like, I don't know, like maybe my like birth father and my birth mother, like were they creative people? Like I was dying for like any kind of information, but having like the ambiguity of like I don't know what happened, that just creates so much space to like make up stories. And for me, as a child, having thoughts like, you know, nobody wanted me, or, you know, what happened there, or why wasn't I good enough, those insecurities had like a lot to take hold of with that ambiguity. And so I definitely would say that I had some resentment, and honestly for me it was like a lot of just like really raw like despair and just like longing. I have to understand too, like, they're still people, and like I have to empathize, and like I have to, like, I don't know, like they're still worthy to like be loved, or to just like, again, like live their own lives. And so as I got older, like I definitely understood that like I can't take it back, and also like I don't have anything to gain by holding that against, my birth mom. I don't know, everybody just wants to be known, and I think that like very much so a pretty like deep or primal or just like human like need for love. My hometown is like 12,000 people, and then my mom, which she grew up like 45 minutes north of where I grew up, her town has like 250 people. And so as much as it was a culture shock being in a different country, it was also a culture shock of just like being in a big city. Communicating with my like biological family, I like went through the adoption agency, and they contacted my biological mom. Can't find father. She had like married a different man who is not my biological father, has her own family. And yeah, she said, don't contact me again. And a lot of anxiety and emotion. And I mean, as you can imagine, like you like live your life, and then this person comes and is like, I'm your kid. That was also like significant of like kind of coming back to that, like she doesn't want anything to do with me, like that's not fair, like that sucks, and like I'm here and I've come all the way across the world and I've changed my life, and you're not putting out anything. And it was like February 21st, like 2020, like that's when I like got the email. And then I like really battled for the like next couple of days, and I was just like had to come back to that, like I can't change it, even no matter how hard like I try, like I can't change something like that. For me, I could either like labor really hard, like emotionally and like physically, and put a lot of energy into it, but I don't think that there's a lot of like leeway that I can get from my birth mom. So I met my foster mom. She had like fostered like 120 babies or something like that, which is incredible. I like met her. I was like, "Are you my grandma?" And I just like started crying, and so that was really cool. Any part of the story that I feel like I could like experience or like reclaim was like really important for me. As a Korean American in central Minnesota, like I was not like everybody else because everyone is white, and I am obviously not white. But also, like any interaction that I had with like someone who was a different culture, or someone who like represented their culture in like a significant way, I was like where is that for me? Because I'm also not Korean, because like I don't speak the language, and I went to like an adoptee camp, and so like I've had the food, but I don't know what that, like I don't feel like I own that part of culture for me. I don't know. I've never really like identified myself as like I'm a Korean person. For me, just because like of the spaces that I had like struggled in and out of, it was like I just want to be me. The qualities that are like intrinsic to me that like aren't like cultural or like racial or like those kind of identifiers don't hold as much weight compared to like like I value empathy, or like those kind of things. A Korean American identity to me is like really like pretty intersectional. Like it's like me and the things that I love, and yes, I pull from like all different relationships, but like in the end, like I'm the one who has to determine like this is who I am, this is what Koreanness is for me, this is what it means to be like a transracial adoptee, this is what it means to be a person of color. And so it's like very connected to like so many different things for me. The adoptee experience is extremely individual, and there's a lot of like common themes and like recurring things that happen like from person to person. But really like every adoptee you meet from wherever, like their story is so individual and personal. Like I am, but also like Korean Americans or Asian Americans are asked a lot of things that just kind of like fall into this like muttering of questions of like, where are you really from, or what does your culture mean to you? Or sometimes like it's more important than it has to be, I feel like, because like so many times I'm just like, I don't know, like I'm just Karl, or like, you know, like, yeah, like that is important, but I also do this. And so this is called Baa Baa Yellow Sheep. Baa Baa Yellow Sheep, have you any wool? In this story, what's the difference between the sheep and the wolf? I grip my yellow label like I'm drawing with golden colored pencils. I'm creating with a foreign utensil on the surface of my reflection. The silver sheen mirror is my canvas, and I'm trying my best to put nunchi in my eyes and aegyo on my skin. To walk like Hanmanis walk, the black in my vision tells stories of shame and pain and pride that you can't see, sometimes that I can't see, but I feel it. And I never even asked for it, but I got stuck with it and had to adjust and discover that I'd never ask for any other life because this is me. And that's a sour, twisted fact, like a lemon full of lime juice. Peculiar and unique, but still wrong. And that's what it feels like every time I hear, I'm sure she loved you. My mother's and I'm their everything, yet I am loss upon loss, like Baa Baa Yellow Sheep. The wool is a wash. They sheared the sheep and dyed me yellow. They dyed me yellow. Yet I feel everywhere asking, Baa Baa Yellow Sheep, have you any wool? It depends on who's asking, the shepherd or a wolf, because I have none to offer you. My wool, my skin, my Asian-eyed grin, my food and cuisine or idol-clad magazine, fashion and models, music and bottles, there's an imperative to be Korean, to be something that I'm not. My friends insist I must be living this grand journey to find myself and to soul search. A Facebook friend just told me that I must be growing so much and I must feel like a whole Korean, like I must have acquired the secret fully Asian ritual. I am full Korean, and I have acquired the fully Asian ritual, but I'm chanting something different. It's a chant that goes, Baa Baa Yellow Sheep, have you any wool? An appropriate response because, yes sir, 3 bags full. Baa Baa Yellow Sheep, it wasn't to begin. Scrape the language from my tongue and take a mother from her son. This sheep stuff comes from within. I'm selling out for my spot in line for the shearing. Like I deserve this place in line, but I'm not like the others. Ben went to a poor neighborhood. Emily's mom wished she never went through with the adoption. Bennett ended up in the hospital with slashed wrists. It's toxic. What I have is more than gold or trade or weight. It's a real wealth, like a real wealth of issues. Like having parents that don't want me, like asking if I'm even meant to be here, not like here, but like here as in existing. Like belonging somewhere but never ever knowing where that is because I've been told so many times to go back to where I came from. So I did. And again, I was told to go back to where I came from. It's like having a map to nowhere. It's like wanting answers that I don't need, like any other adult in their 20s. Like being dramatic and feely, and I just need to take a deep breath. What I have is more than gold or trade or weight, and I know it. And even if I ask myself still, Baa Baa Yellow Sheep, have you any wool? I know that I'm worth it. My name's Karl, and this is my Korean American story.